Upon arriving home, Peter caught sight of Josh in the backyard, playing exuberantly with Snickers. The dog bounded in circles, tail wagging with infectious joy, while Josh laughed in delight. Peter stood quietly for a moment, a soft smile playing on his lips as he watched the bond between his son and their beloved pet unfold before him. Finally, Peter approached, his heart heavy with the news he had to deliver. He gently placed an arm around Josh's shoulders, feeling the warmth of his son's body against his side. Josh looked up at his father, his eyes wide with curiosity tinged with concern. Peter took a deep breath, grappling for the right words. "Snickers isn't feeling well, buddy," he started slowly, his gaze dropping momentarily. "The vet says he needs some treatment. We have to take him to the vet clinic, and he might need to stay there for a while until he gets better." Josh's heart sank, a knot forming in his throat. Tears welled up in his eyes, threatening to spill over. "No, Dad, please," he pleaded softly, his voice cracking with emotion. "I don't want Snickers to be away from me. He's my best friend." Peter pulled Josh into a tight embrace, holding him close as if to shield him from the pain. "I know, Josh. I know," Peter murmured, his own voice thick with emotion. "But this is the best chance for Snickers to get better. We'll do everything we can to bring him home soon, okay?" Josh nodded against his father's chest, tears streaming down his cheeks. "Okay, Dad," he whispered, his voice trembling. "But promise me you'll take care of him and bring him back home." Peter gently cupped Josh's face in his hands, meeting his son's tear-filled eyes with a steady gaze. "I promise, Josh," he said solemnly, his voice unwavering. "I'll take care of Snickers like he's part of our family. I'll bring him back home as soon as he's better, I promise." Josh clung to his father, drawing strength from the reassuring embrace. It was a promise that bound them together, a vow to ensure Snickers' well-being and happiness no matter what. In that shared moment of sorrow and determination, father and son forged a bond strengthened by their love for their faithful friend. Days passed, and Josh spent every possible moment with Snickers. They walked together through the neighborhood, played fetch in the park, and even ventured to the beach a few times. Josh made sure Snickers enjoyed every minute, cherishing their time together before the impending separation. Snickers, in turn, seemed to understand the gravity of the situation, soaking up the love and attention from his young companion. Josh turned his head to look at Snickers, their eyes meeting in the dim light. For a brief moment, a flicker of understanding passed between them, a silent exchange of love and comfort that transcended words. Despite the challenges they faced, Josh knew that Snickers was there for him, offering unwavering support and companionship during his darkest moments. Together, they shared a bond forged through countless days of laughter, companionship, and unconditional love. And as they faced the uncertainty of the days ahead, Josh found solace in knowing that Snickers would always be by his side, a steadfast friend in a world that often felt overwhelming and uncertain. "You're here with me, aren't you, Snickers?" Josh whispered softly, his fingers gently tracing the dog's soft fur. Snickers responded with a gentle bark, a comforting sound that seemed to echo a promise of unwavering loyalty and companionship. As the next morning dawned, a palpable sense of sadness still hung heavy over Josh's house. Peter, his father, entered the room and saw the anguish etched on his son's face. He approached the bed quietly and sat down beside Josh, his heart aching for the pain his son was going through. "Josh, I know this is hard, but we need to take Snickers to the vet," Peter said softly, his expression filled with concern. Josh looked up at his father, tears welling in his eyes. "Dad, I don't want to lose Snickers. He's all I have," Josh choked out, his voice breaking with emotion. Peter reached out and gently took Josh's hand in his own. "I know, son, I know," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "But Snickers isn't well, and we have to do what's best for him." Reluctantly, Josh nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of impending loss. He knew deep down that seeing Snickers suffer was unbearable, even if it meant being apart from his beloved companion. "Okay, Dad," Josh agreed softly, his voice trembling with sorrow. Let's take him to the vet. Peter pulled Josh into a tight embrace, holding him close as they both struggled to contain their emotions. You're a brave boy, Josh, Peter whispered, his voice catching. Let's give Snickers the chance to get well again. And so, with heady hearts and determined resolve, father and son prepared themselves for the emotional journey ahead, united in their commitment to do whatever it took to preserve the unbreakable bond they shared with Snickers. The drive to the vet's office was filled with a solemn silence. Peter's mind raced with thoughts of how to support Josh through this difficult time, knowing that the conversation ahead would shatter his son's heart. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, time seemed to stretch into eternity. They knew that this moment marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, one fraught with challenges and heartache. But amidst the sadness, a sudden wave of overwhelming emotions swept over Josh. His embrace with his parents grew weaker, his body going limp for a moment before he collapsed. Peter and Nadja were thrown into a panic, their hearts racing as they held on to Josh, calling his name desperately. Peter swiftly dialed emergency services, his voice trembling as he relayed the situation. Together, they carefully laid Josh on his side, trying to keep him comfortable while they anxiously awaited help. The paramedics arrived swiftly, their professionalism a reassuring presence in the midst of chaos. They immediately began assessing Josh's condition, providing essential first aid while offering words of comfort to Peter and Nadja. They explained that Josh's fainting spell could likely be attributed to the intense emotional and physical stress he had been under in recent days. As the paramedic tended to Josh, Peter and Nadja exchanged worried glances, their hearts heavy with guilt over the challenges Josh had faced recently. However, the paramedic reassured them once again, emphasizing that Josh was receiving the necessary care and that they shouldn't blame themselves. Josh was swiftly transported to the hospital for a thorough evaluation, accompanied closely by Peter and Nadja, who were deeply concerned about his well-being. As they anxiously awaited the test results, they reflected on the tumultuous days they had endured. Meanwhile, Snickers remained under Peter's care at the veterinary clinic, undergoing crucial medical examinations. The vet explained that Snickers was battling a severe illness that demanded immediate treatment. Peter agreed to proceed with the treatment, though his thoughts were torn between Josh's condition at the hospital and Snickers' recovery. At the hospital, doctors determined that Josh required rest and intensive care to facilitate a full recovery. Emotionally drained and physically exhausted, Josh needed time to recuperate both mentally and physically. Peter and Nadja made the difficult decision to take turns between the hospital and the veterinary clinic, ensuring that both Josh and Snickers received the care and attention they needed. During his stay in the hospital, Josh embarked on a journey of deep reflection. He came to realize just how much Snickers meant to him and the profound bond they shared. Despite the challenges they had faced, their friendship had endured, and Josh was determined to regain his strength so he could be by Snickers' side once more. However, fate had a surprising twist in store for them all. While Josh was still in the hospital, he received a life-changing phone call from Peter, who was at the veterinary clinic with Snickers. Josh couldn't believe it. It felt like a miracle unfolding before his eyes. The news of Snickers' recovery infused a ray of hope into the darkness surrounding his own situation. He knew he still faced a challenging road to recovery, but now he had an added reason to fight, an eager anticipation to reunite with Snickers. Throughout his recovery in the hospital, Josh kept a cherished photo of Snickers on his bedside table, a constant source of inspiration and motivation. He envisioned the exciting adventures they would embark on together once he was back on his feet. After weeks of dedicated recovery, Josh was finally discharged from the hospital, stronger both physically and emotionally. Peter and Nadja accompanied him to the veterinary clinic, where Snickers was patiently recovering. As they entered the room, Snickers' joyous bark echoed through the air at the sight of his friend Josh. It was a deeply emotional reunion, filled with licks, wagging tails, and heartfelt embraces that spoke volumes of their unbreakable bond. The vet explained that although Snickers was on the path to recovery, he would still require ongoing care and monitoring. Josh solemnly promised to care for Snickers with all the love and dedication in his heart. The veterinary clinic room was brimming with emotions as Josh and Snickers celebrated their reunion, their eyes sparkling with happiness and contentment. Peter and Nadja watched with tears of joy streaming down their faces, overwhelmed by the beauty of this long-awaited moment. Josh knelt beside Snickers, wrapping his arms around him affectionately. Peter placed a hand on Josh's shoulder, a mixture of pride and relief evident in his eyes. "It feels like a miracle, doesn't it?" he said softly, a smile spreading across his face. Petting Snickers gently, Josh looked up at his parents with profound gratitude. "Thank you, Mom, Dad. You did everything for us, and now look, we're all together again," he said, his voice filled with heartfelt appreciation and love. The veterinarian approached with a smile, noticing the happiness radiating through the room. "Looks like Snickers got an extra healing boost with the visit from his best friend." Josh chuckled, feeling a weight lifted from his shoulders. "It's true. Together, we are unstoppable, right, Snickers?" With Josh and Snickers on the road to recovery, the family found themselves more united than ever before. They had learned profound lessons about love, resilience, and the importance of facing challenges together. In the days that followed, joyous adventures unfolded between Josh and Snickers. They explored new places, created cherished memories, and savored every moment together. Thus, the remarkable journey of Josh, Snickers, and their family reached a heartwarming conclusion. What had begun as a tale of sorrow and uncertainty transformed into an inspiring narrative of love, healing, and boundless joy.